Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
Well, welcome into DeathPiles and Deathas, because I just messed that up. DeathPiles and Taxes, episode number 65. Has everyone washed their hands? Very, very important now.
I got the sanitizer out in the front room.
I took off the mask. We're risking it for you, the listeners, and it's an action-packed episode, Adam.
It's a full house in here today.
This is the biggest ensemble of live casts we've had since Phil's.
We also had Phil's. We had eBay too.
No, I was going to say ever, but then I thought about it, and that was not true.
In studio. And we're the biggest in studio today.
Biggest in studio. And we're trying the 3-mic system.
Aaron, he's one of our special guests. Give us a little something there, Mr. Engineer.
How's it going, everybody? I'm becoming a regular on this podcast now. I think this is about my third or fourth time on it.
You're probably the most featured guest ever.
I know that Derek's been looking for some new host. I think he's reaching out a little bit here. So
This is an audition. Adam didn't know about it. We're gonna take it over.
Wow, I know we did just have the baby. We've got Derek's first favorite, Brian, now in studio also.
Oh, he's my second favorite, Brian. He's your first favorite.
Well, we're going to get a little something in here. He came
A golden ticket winner.
He came with his nice shirt on too. Don't think we didn't notice that.
Came all dressed up for success.
Well, we'll get into it here in just a second. Aaron, you did just mention something. You got some special keys to a room that holds toilet paper. That's probably worth $1 million today.
I'm looking for bids right now. I have it up on eBay. My service there. I can supply all the toilet paper products you need right now.
Is that a little different now, like than stealing, borrowing paper from the office supplies goods? I think it's worth a little more now than a stapler.
I think so. It's a premium right now.
It used to be no big problem. You'd go in a hotel and, you can't take the robe, but you could take the toilet paper, the toiletries. Now I think they'll probably be sending you a bill if you walk out with too many rolls of toilet paper at the hotels.
Brian just sent me a special eBay offering for Scott's toilet paper for $30,000.
Here's what I don't understand. So I was trying to sell my hand sanitizer on the eBay. I'm sure we'll get into it. I got it kicked off, and whether things are essential or not, we'll get down the path. I got some feelings. I know everyone might find that hard to believe. I got an opinion on something strong that might offend some people or not. But why can you sell toilet paper still on eBay, but you can't sell like hand sanitizer or masks?
I don't know.
And that's the problem, right? You gotta be consistent.
I don't want to say it because we might get kicked off the air, but are we turning into China and limiting what we can or cannot say on the internet?
Can or cannot say, or can or cannot sell?
Both.
I think you can say whatever you want.
Well, I'm afraid because if this podcast gets censored, I'm sorry, it's probably my fault.
It probably is, and we accept the apology.
It's like Rudy rubbing his hands all over the microphones, getting everybody ticked off.
That's a whole other can of worms that we've opened. So we're in a new state of normal, at least right now. I hope everyone out there is safe. I hope you're listening. One thing I have noticed is sales are up, and I think that's because people aren't going out.
Well, that and we're on, like I said, the new equipment today, Aaron. We really appreciate that. You're the reason it made it happen.
Oh, you bet. Anytime I got the call, came right down to help. So.
That's good. I said, Adam had the YouTube tutorial up. He was trying to figure this out. I said, just let me call Aaron. He'll come down. I got my taxes done. Turned out to be a good experience. I'm still out of prison. So it worked out.
At least this year you're out of prison.
Aaron offered to run over to Walmart, which right now is like, a war zone to help us out.
It's basically a death sentence right there. So.
And Adam said, well, there's an Ace across the street. So
Ace is a place with the helpful, friendly folk.
we were able to find what ailed us over there. So it was it's an interesting day so far. And Adam just had to spit out. I just realized he had gum in.
Got to be professional on here, so
You better wash your hands now.
Get that sanitizer going.
I need to. So, well, Aaron, while we got you on here, appreciate you coming in helping us. I should have been recording you. What you just did is way better than this kid in England. I couldn't even understand what he was saying. And it was from
Are-
2014, I think.
Are you saying I should start a YouTube channel?
Of course I am. You should have done that a long time ago. Just with all the stuff you fix for Derek.
That's true.
I've told people. I've told my brother-in-law Cole, who's been on the show. I've told Aaron, just record what you're doing. Like, you know how to do it, so you think it's, easy. But if you record it and put it on YouTube, you're doing it anyways. And then people out there will watch you. My buddy Kerry, who is a mechanic, he started recording him fixing cars, and now he's got views in like Saudi Arabia for how to fix a Chevy Blazer and stuff like that. Like, yeah, he got some skills. Use them.
It's like having downloads of your podcast in Poland, the infected area.
The whole world's pretty much infected, so wash your hands, people.
So any golden ticket winners over in Europe, we're afraid we're going to have to put that trip on hold.
Adam was going to host you. He's going to fly you over, and now he's backpedaling pretty fast on that if you're from France.
Well, they wouldn't let me get in. My passport got revoked.
I have me an international trip. We'll see how that goes at the end of April, 1st of May. Everything's just kind of in limbo.
Well, while we got in studio, let's have Brian jump on here real quick,
Let's
see
do
if
it.
we can get some good information from a avid listener.
Golden ticket winner, ladies and gentlemen, my second favorite Brian. Welcome to the show. And you're only my second favorite because of Adam. If Adam wasn't here, and the guy in New York, but like I could have ties, but since he's your favorite, you have to be my second favorite.
Thank you very much for having me.
But Brian, I know your wife, she gives you a hard time. She gives me a hard time all the time at work, but it sounds like she's getting softened because you're wearing her down a little bit and you maybe sold some pants.
I've sold some pants, but I've been trying to wear her down and trying to get her to sell stuff, but I don't think it's going to happen.
She tells me you could do better things with your time. To me, this is enjoyable, but I don't know what you think.
I love it. It's kind of a new game. I picked it up from you guys. There's no way I would have ever thought I would have sold stuff on eBay probably 6 months ago, but in the last little bit, especially this last month of February, I don't know, not much, but maybe $50 worth.
It sounds like sales are up.
Yep, for me they are.
Sales are up. So what are some things you've been selling? What are you finding?
I've sold 2 pairs of jeans. I've sold some. I actually did sell some toilet paper with President Trump's face on it. I got from a Christmas party, and so I ended up flipping it and selling it on eBay.
White Elephant gets. Derek's an expert at that.
Yeah, the white elephant. Everyone at the end of the night wants to just give their stuff away and not take it home. And I'll take a lap, and if there's something I can get, and I think that could be made a profit of, I've came out pretty good on white elephants, so that's always smart. Gag gifts, or somebody else is going to want to sell them to somebody else, use them, and so on. So Trump's face or not.
So you are the quintessential U2 expert. Give us a little background on that. I've heard you've gone to see him in concert more times than Derek has seen WWF wrestling events.
That's going to be, we'll see about that.
Well, I've seen them 17 times in concert. Yeah,
You got me beat.
I love seeing them.
Why do you love seeing U2 so much?
Oh, if I have to say anything, there is a great band live. They put on a heck of a show, and it's just fun. It's fun being in the atmosphere, and they've been my favorite band for the last probably 25 years.
And this is not just going to the Salt Palace. This is also world touring, correct?
In 2017, I talked my wife into going over to Ireland to see him.
Wow.
So we were over there for about 10 days, and we went to Ireland and Scotland, and the last day of the tour, we saw U2 in concert, so it was pretty fun.
So you probably know more about Bono than most people do.
Maybe all the people in this room, but...
So what's going on at the aquarium with that claw?
Oh, so that claw was the 360 tour, and it was a stage where they held the video portion up above, so everybody in the stadium could see them. So they call it the 360 tour. And so I don't know how the aquarium got a hold of it. I don't know how financially it worked. If U2 gave it to them, or they purchased it, or how that all works.
U2 was looking for a little extra money and they flipped it.
So is it complete, or are they still, because you drive by, it doesn't look complete?
I think they're going to do something with the base of it, but I think the setup is complete.
All right. That sells that, Adam. We've been wondering about that for months.
You know, we have our expert in the room who knew more about it than us. So what do you really, I know you don't have to, but have you looked up some of the comps on some of the concert t-shirts that you have in your closet?
So I've sold one U2 t-shirt so far. I got probably 20 years ago at one of the concerts, and I ended up selling it for $45. What helped is, well, I actually sold it to Italy. You guys cued me in on the global shipping, and so it shipped to Italy, and it worked out pretty good.
I know that's one thing Derek and I, we talked about is the vintage t-shirts, that kind of stuff. There's a lot in that because they call it the regeneration, like everything that was big 20 years ago is now coming back. We talked about a little bit about cards that we're going to get into here in a minute. So I know you said, did you look at any of your cards? Did you find anything that was interesting to you?
You talking to me?
Both of you guys.
I got more cards to send in than Brian's been to YouTube concerts.
I've got my fat stack over there. Brian, did you find anything interesting?
All my cards I have are ones that I've enjoyed, like my Michael Jordan cards. I have some Ricky Henderson cards and some Ken Griffey Jr. cards. But when I look on eBay how much they're going for, I think they're pretty much going for what I paid for them.
No real big jumps then.
Yeah.
That happens. I mean, that's why I was over talking with Phil yesterday at the card store, and you know, I get all these old '90s packs just to open them and go through them, and really, I'm not finding there. I mean, it's going to be a long shot to find anything really worth anything in some of those overproduced packs, but I still just like to rip it and look at them. So I don't know what you got, Adam. What's your cards over here? What are you sending in?
Well, do you want to get into it right now? It's a pretty healthy stack.
Yeah, we might as well.
Well, I'll grab it. I know that, what are we, $10 a pop to send them in?
Well, friends and family, yeah. I know Mr. Painter had a few more to send in, so we'll see where we end up at the end of the day on it.
Well, we get into a lot now because the world is ending. There's a lot of different things. I'll just go through a couple. I'm throwing in quite a few. I got 2 Rudy Goberts. The third year in a row he's winning the Defensive Player of the Year because he's now shut down the world.
He shut her down. The NBA is no longer in session thanks to Rudy in part.
Not even just the NBA. He shut down March Madness, shut down the NHL.
He's winning all sorts of defensive leagues, huh?
Here in Utah, he shut down the any religious affiliations are now from home.
Hey, I think the Jazz win the championship. If you shut down multiple leagues, I think that's just to give them the title at that point. Am I off base?
My kids are super thrilled because now they get 2-week homeschooled / online.
I'm sure your wife and the new baby at home are even more excited for that.
That's true. I didn't think about that part.
They might be running the office over here.
Yeah, I've got a couple of Donovans. So as I was listening to that Gary Vee just did like a 2.5-hour thing about sports cards, is he said one of the things that's going to happen is these guys are going to start betting on themselves. So he told Donovan Mitchell at the All-Star game that so you really ought to buy your own rookie cards. And he said that's when it's going to really change, when like Donovan Mitchell takes a picture of himself with 100 rookie cards that he's got himself. So I'm gonna play that game with these cards.
I mean, it's worth the risk, I guess. It's a little bit of a gamble. You get them graded. You don't know whether they're going to come back in exactly on condition, or there's always the hot player that's going to be the next best thing, and sometimes they fizzle out in a couple, 2-3 years. So it's one of those risk-reward things. But
well, I thought of something. Well, I've got both you guys in the same room. I think Brian might become your new number 1.
Okay,
Do you know where he used to live?
go for it. Where did you used to live, Brian? I'm not even going to go to Adam on this one.
I graduated from Redmond High School in Redmond, Washington.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he might be the new number 1.
I told you. Derek might have spent his religious, ecclesiastical sabbatical in that.
I was on tour in Seattle for a couple of years. Yeah, did some time.
So I'm guessing, Brian, you probably have seen Mr. Ken Griffey Jr. in person. Is that correct?
I've seen him at Safeco Field probably 2 times.
Safeco, or did you ever get to the Kingdom?
We did go to the Kingdom before it got blown up.
Our buddy Waddy up in Seattle. Was that when he called us? He had some sort of an alcoholic something that was in when they blew up the Kingdom. They made it was a special glass something, and it was the Kingdom, but it was filled with alcohol, and he wanted to know how to sell that.
Yeah, that's right.
If he could put it on eBay or not. I just said try the Facebook Marketplace because I'm not sure wherever you live they got different alcohol rules and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, Griffey, and you got the big unit.
Yeah. Did you see him too? Did you ever see him pitch?
I did see him pitch. Yeah.
And it gets a little controversial, but what about the one man that's banned from this show, Mr. A-Rod? Where do you stand on that?
A-Rod, I'm not a big fan of his.
He's banned from this show.
He's banned from the show, and Seattle, you got mixed feelings about him. So
God, there were some good players too. Jay Buhner was there.
you'd have think they'd have made it to like the playoffs a little more often with everyone that's been through there.
So you were what in your late teens, early 20s at that time?
Yeah, I graduated from high school in '89.
So you were right there in like the good era.
The good era.
The good era for the Mariners, but lately the Seahawks have came alive. Are you a Seahawks guy?
I am a Seahawks. Well, back in the day when Moon was the quarterback, when they didn't win anything. So it's been a long time since they've been good, but now it's great.
Now it's back. They're rolling. What about the UW?
Yeah, UW too. So Brian, you're
He doesn't have. Yeah. Oh, a little class reunion.
maybe you can help reassure some of this card stuff. Like as we're getting into it, do you feel any kind of nostalgia now that you have got, you've got teenage kids? I know you've taken your son over there. Do you feel any like reconnection with it now if you're getting back into it with him?
I love looking through cards. I love seeing you guys open packs and seeing what's in there. And it makes me want to go buy more packs, but I don't know what I can sell them for.
Venue Sports, Spanish Fork, Utah.
That's the problem. Is I do the same thing. I'll look on YouTube and I'll see some guy open a pack of cards, and I don't know why, but it's almost like a lottery ticket to some extent of like the scratcher fever that you get when you can buy a couple scratchers. But you see them open them, you're like, those are just cool cards. And then I go over to Phil and I give him a portion of the paycheck and a nice handshake and a couple laughs, and here we go.
So when you're opening those cards, what is your son? Does he get into any particular parts? Is there any like cards that he actually likes?
Well, when I open them, I just put all the Utah Jazz in one pile and try to give it to him. I bought a card the other day over at Phil's. Bought a Derek Favors card with a jersey on it because Derek Favors was Ethan's favorite player, so he liked it. My wife rolled her eyes when I brought it home, but yeah.
Imagine that.
That's the hard thing, convincing, because we grew up with cards and that's kind of how it was. That's what you would do. But like my wife, yeah, it's just they didn't grow up doing it, so they don't have that nostalgia factor necessarily. Although Phil said that there's a lot of girls getting into it over there that know stats better than, me anyways. Adam's kind of a stat guy, but
It doesn't surprise me. So that's one of the things that, we've been learning. There's kind of two ways to play the game about breaking open cards.
I was just pretend to bend your card.
That's even the hard case. No, there's two types of games. Like I said, that card I bought specifically, but then there's also talking about the rip and wax. I think I kind of like both.
I mean, there's like the investment and there's the fun part, and there's money to be made, and there's a little, speculation kind of investment type thing, but more is the nostalgia for me. I mean, there's certain cards that you can buy and hold, and hope in 20 years you can sell it for buco bucks, but I'm really just trying to sell enough to keep buying them and not feel bad about it.
So we'll get into a little more card stuff. But Brian, like I said, you've probably listened to most of our episodes. We don't pay you to listen. I don't pay your wife any extra for you to be nice to us. Why do you listen to our podcast?
Oh, I listen to your podcast just to get different ideas of what I can sell on eBay. Really thinking about going into like DI and Goodwill. I hate it, actually. It's the worst for me. And I get excited, listen to you guys talk about it, and then I go in there and look around, and then I pretty much end up turning around and leaving most of the time. There's a few things in there that I'll buy, but for the most part, where I find most of my stuff is my wife likes to clean through our house and give a lot of the stuff to DI. And so then I go through the bags after she's done, and then I pull some stuff out, and then I ended up listing it on eBay. So that's where I've got most of my stash.
I know she's kind of like one of those cleans often and wants to get rid of stuff, so I could see how that would work.
And that's just reinvesting then. You've already spent the money on it once. You can give it away or donate it or whatever, and you go through and if you can flip it on eBay and make a little extra money, that's just, that's smart thinking. That's the way I see it.
Well, why we got him in studio, because he's always sending me some good questions. You've sent me a couple. Do you have any that you want to ask Derek while you're here on air? Do you want me to read some of them that you sent me?
Yeah, read them. I can't remember what I sent.
Okay, so these are specific questions that Derek says. First, I had a pair of shoes returned. Buyer said they were too small. I waited until they were returned to refund money. Do I need to refund just the sales price? How about shipping? I charged $10 for shipping, but actually paid less shipping than that. What do you refund? How do you take care of that, Derek?
Oh, the refunds get into that funny category of how do you feel about it kind of personally. When you make the listing, it's going to ask you if you accept returns and if you don't. I'd recommend everyone accept it because it's going to boost your sales rank and where people see your stuff. As far as if it's an item not as described and it's legitimately you sent them the wrong thing or it was broke or didn't work for other things, I'd say full refund at that point. If it's just it didn't fit them right, you put down the size, everything was correct with what you did with measurements and everything compared to what it says on the tag, I would just reimburse the price. I'd keep the shipping. I'd make them pay for shipping to come back to me, depending on how you set that up as well. Because you're not just sending it to them for them to try it out and then send it back to you. That's going to get costly with returns if you're just going to be a try-on store. Or, you hate to say it, but maybe somebody just needed the shoes for the night. Sometimes people are going to the prom or whatever. They get a nice fancy pair of shoes. For other people, I know this might not be the case here. They wear them for a couple nights and then they return them because they didn't fit. So if you do that, you're going to be getting into a lot of money out of pocket just on returns. So what I would do personally is I don't pay for the returns. I let them make returns. And then if it's open product, so if it was new or damaged, eBay lets you subtract the percentage that you give back even. They used to have a restock fee. They don't do that anymore. So you can have an option to save up to 50% of that if you offer free returns. So just kind of the condition it comes back in, you can assess that. But personally, that's what I would do. I would not do the shipping on that case because everything you did was correct.
So is that what did you end up doing on that one, Brian?
They returned it, and I just waited for the product to get back to my house, and then once I had it in hand, I reimbursed them. But they didn't ask me anything for shipping, so I didn't follow up on that.
I mean, if you get a squeaky wheel, it all depends. If you get a squeaky wheel and they're bugging you constantly, maybe it is worth the $7 to just get them to be quiet, shut up, and move on, versus somebody that's just cool with it. I don't know. Then you block them from your store so they can't come bug you again. That's
our only less than 5-star review is some Yetzo because we sold these Reeboks that were like 1980, and he complained because he said the soles were they weren't soft. They were cracked.
Yeah, and
the shoes were like $15.
There's people are interesting, right? Like 99% of the people I deal with on eBay are just fine. Things go smooth. But every now and again, you'll get that one weird comment or something on a review, and you have to go and I'll go and ask them what was wrong with it or whatever, what's going on. And then the response might vary from, oh, I didn't mean to send it to, I'm going to come murder you and your family, basically. Anywhere in between there. So it's a case-by-case situation, of course. But I was actually the squeaky wheel this week on. I'm a pro wrestling guy. There's this new company that came out, the AEW. I'm not going to go into all the details, but they had in 2018 they started, and they had the first big wrestling show that they were going to do, and they made cards, which only one place distributed, and so I was able to find 3 packs of these cards the other, probably a couple weeks ago. So they shipped me the cards, and one of the boxes had been opened. It was an Adam Beasley, Michael Painter special where they went through all the cards. So I contacted the guy, and I'm like, hey man, like 2 of these are perfect still condition. This other one's damaged and opened. And so he's giving me a little flack saying, well, I don't think that's how you got them. And so I sent pictures over and everything. And long story short, he wanted me to mail them back to him, and he'd send me some others. I said, okay, just send me the shipping label. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. I said, I know how this works. You're going to send me a shipping label. And so he was getting a little nervous and said, we're going to do this all over $4. And I said, it's not $4 to ship it that I'm worried about. I'm worried about not getting reimbursed for the cards because I don't want to send back all 3. I just want to send back one of the packs. And long story short, he ends up buying something for me on my store, which I think is kind of a hostage negotiation tactic, because I didn't get back to him soon enough. And I'm like, the world's gone crazy since this has happened, buddy. I got a wife to worry about. I got family things going on. We're trying to shop. I'm trying to have a full-time job and do stuff on eBay, so I don't drop everything to talk to you. He informs me it's all mass hysteria and he's in Brooklyn and everything's fine, which is all well and good, but still, I have to have food in my pantry and stuff. So anyway, long story short, I tell him, okay, I'm going to send you this keychain you bought for me, but I'm going to put the pack of cards in here and you're going to reimburse them. And he said that was okay. Now that's not eBay policy, okay, but
Can you say that we have eBay listening? You better edit that part out.
no, it's fine. It was just his way of making sure that I didn't. I don't know. I'm sure he's going to get the pack of cards and say, this has been opened and things have been gone through. And I'm going to say, exactly.
Well, that gets into your other question. I think, Brian, his other question he had on here was waiting for payment, right?
Yeah, I went to Disneyland and got some shampoo, and I ended up selling it. And the guy, well, he bought it, but then he didn't send me payment. And so I waited. I sent him an invoice. I sent him an email, and then I opened a case from eBay, and I just haven't heard anything. It's been about 3 weeks, so I just closed it and relisted it.
Yeah. Do you have a store?
No.
Okay. With my store, I don't know if it lets you do it if you don't have a store, but there's an unpaid item. You can just make an automatic unpaid item case, and you can set, 3 to 5 days, I think it is. So how I have it set up is if after 3 days they don't pay, it will just automatically open a case, and then it automatically shuts it after, I don't remember how many days. I think it's 2 or 3 days. But I'll send them an invoice and a little friendly reminder, of, hey, maybe you got busy, whatever, just whenever you get time, I'd like to ship this to you. It's already like a nice flowery of, hey, it's here ready for you to ship out. We just need you the payment. We'll make it happen. So some people just click on things in the middle of the night. I don't know.
Well, you know what you guys are both saying? Like it sounds, very, common sense that you don't send people stuff until you get payment. I mean, Brian's obviously extremely intelligent, but his wife, my goodness. That's how she told me to run my business, and since then things have been going well.
Well, I mean, you were doing goods and services for people before they paid for you.
Imagine that.
Yeah, maybe you should give him a raise.
No, him. Well,
Or his wife. I mean, them.
them. Well, I know, but it's got to go to her. I don't want him to think, we're paying him to have to listen to the podcast.
Hey, it's. I think we got everyone in here who's listened to every episode that we've had. That's got to be a first.
Yeah, that's true. I do know one thing we talked about is just changing that business model. I know that's a lot of, what we talk about is getting better, learning new things. And I know that kind of sounds stupid if you're running a business, but that was kind of what I had changed over the time period in my business, is just treating it the same way that, you don't send people their tax returns until they pay you.
That makes sense. I mean, because what are you going to do at that point?
Kind of common sense, so.
It's hard to reimburse or repossess something that you've already done electronically.
That's true. So
I think we've all sent. When I started on eBay, I had sent stuff out before people paid. So it's one of those things you get excited that cha-ching. You might not check everything to make sure it's paid and just assume it is. You print off the label and boy, then you start praying once you figure out that they haven't actually paid. But luckily, I've never run into too bad of a problem of somebody not paying and having the item sent.
Well, before we let you go, Brian, I know this is, great Saturday afternoon, hitting it in here with the DeathPiles and taxes. What questions do you have? Is there anything we can answer for you today?
Well, when I go through, like, to DI or whatever, or Goodwill, I don't even know where to start looking. I mean, I tend to go to the shirts aisle, and I go back to the books, and I look through, and I'm like, oh, this is just going to be so much time. And so that's when I turn around and go out. How do you guys find stuff at DI?
Well, I start with what I'm interested in or what I know a little bit. I know when we talked to Suzanne, she says that she scans everything in a thrift store, which would take a majority of a day, even though she's to the point where she probably knows what she's after. I just go, so I know t-shirts, I can go through that rack really fast because I can look and see if junk. Oh, that might be something. Pull it out, and I can do that pretty fast. Then I can look those up afterwards, and I might scan through and miss something. shoes are kind of the same way. I can go around and say, I know those brands, that's good condition, and just kind of a quick visual. Electronics somewhat, if you know what you're looking for, sporting goods. So I just kind of go and look at what I know, and then scan it after that or look it up instead of spending the time right there, because most thrift stores you can just junk. Oh, that might be something special, and then you look it up, it might be junk or you might have found treasure. So.
And as he's saying that, it takes time, because the first couple times I went, I was like looking up stuff, and it just, the more you do it, the better you get at it. For those kind of, I like to go look at the cases first, like see what's
The
in
glass
it.
case, see what the pristine things are.
Yeah, see what's kind of interesting, what they've set aside. That's my one area. I like going to the yard area too. That's where I always think they have some interesting things. I'm definitely getting more in, like I said, yard sales. They're interesting because they're, again, just selling people's junk, and not all of it for us too is like reselling. I mean, my kids like getting board games. You know, they like finding things, and again, I'm teaching them how to list. That's kind of the one area, but just again, finding those one-off weird items. I think that's the one thing that I look for.
And I mean, if that's not your thing, if you don't like it, maybe, the retail arbitrage, or just going to yard sales, or even going on eBay and finding things that are underpriced that are worth more, like your U2 shirts. You can find, somebody that's got a bunch, or offer up. There's so many places to find things. Maybe just go find what you do like, because if you're going to pull up to the DI and kind of get that pit in your stomach of, I hope I don't come out with some weird disease and this is going to kill my afternoon.
Yeah.
You don't want to go, I mean, who wants to do that? But if you get excited about going to a yard sale, or if you like the hunt somewhere else, estate sales, whatever that might be, and find what you enjoy and do it. I mean, there's money in thrift stores, sure, but there's plenty of other places to source. You can even put up on Facebook. I've seen people putting up in search of ads, and I know it's people that are selling, so I buy your cell phones, use this or that. I thought about doing that for old band t-shirts or wrestling shirts of, hey, if you got cleaning out the kids' cupboards or whatever, and you got some old 90s t-shirts, I'll buy them from you. I mean, you can be creative that way and just do what you like. If it's going down and visiting Phil and pulling cards, just buckle down and find what your enjoyment is, because you don't want to build yourself a second job that's kind of a pain and turns into a sweatshop for yourself. Because that's not going to last long, and it's just going to build up a death pile that's never going to move. So,
well, I like it. It's pretty fun. It's fun listing. The hard part is for me, like when I list my wife's clothes and stuff that she's getting rid of. I don't know. Like, is this cashmere, or is this cotton, or is this whatever? And so I have a hard time filling in all those categories.
yeah, that's why I say sell hound on that, especially women's shoes or women's clothing, because there's so many different styles and makes. That's where you just take the pictures and let them do the work.
If you haven't tried Cellhound yet, that would be definitely something I would do. So I tried using it on a couple of the clothes things, and it tells you that. It tells you to take a picture of like each different angle. It tells you to take a picture of like it tells you what percentage of it is what cloth, and then they list it for you.
Yeah, they put down all the item descriptions. So because I've asked my wife before on shoes. I'll get women's shoes, and I said, is this it sounds stupid, but is this a heel stiletto? Is this a cubed foot? Is this they got like 20 different things to say what the bottom of your shoe is. And I have no clue, and she'll kind of laugh, and some of it she doesn't know. So unless you're a shoe expert, which Adam says there's people over in England paying big bucks for shoe experts.
Dirty women's shoes. Stinky women's shoes.
Aaron, I was going to ask you real fast, though, because you go to thrift stores and stuff. What's your, same question, but what are you looking for? How do you go about that?
It just kind of depends. You're always just looking for something that you're familiar with. I think that's kind of the key to going around thrift shopping, is each one of us kind of has our own unique interest or hobby, or special item that you personally are familiar with. Like Derek, for example, he's a big wrestler fan, so he looks for wrestling shirts or sports cards, stuff like that he's familiar with. So I think that's kind of the key when we go around to the different shops. It's just knowing what you find personally that you have knowledge about, and going out and finding that.
What's your vice, Aaron? What gets your juices flowing?
It just kind of depends. I think it's been mentioned before, I'm into aviation, but you don't find a bunch of that, but if I find like, I've had a buddy actually who found a aviation headset at a thrift store, and bought it and used it for all his flight training. So, I mean, that kind of stuff does happen. It's a little more rare, but.
I bet you if you could find Amelia Earhart, you'd probably be a millionaire.
Yeah, stuff like that. I'm also, big into electronics, kind of, most of the modern kind of things. So if I find something that I know that's valuable, I'll usually pick it up and try to resell it as well. So.
Well, man, that sounds like a lot of fun helping each other dive into different areas. So, Derek, we just kind of burned through it already, man.
That's the first half. That was a quick first half.
Well, Brian, appreciate you coming in. I hope that now that we're on the same Seattle vibe, you can move up in the rankings.
You might have moved up. You're my second favorite Adam now. I got the first favorite Brian.
Well,
Except for
thanks
Ty,
having
for
me
the
on.
guy, there's a guy in New York that's really mad at me right now. So I got two favorite Brians.
Well, thanks for having me out. I like this podcast. It's a great podcast.
Well, good.
If you're not on Visible Mobile, what are you doing with your life? You just must like to waste money. Visible Mobile, Adam. What is it? I'm here to tell you, it's a new phone service running on your Verizon network. You can pay as little as $25 now. They've got this new thing that's called a party plan.
The party line.
It's like a family plan, except for you don't have to go around and collect all the money from everyone. Everyone pays their own bill.
I don't have to Venmo my cousin.
You don't have to Venmo your cousin Eddie. You don't have to go down that trailer park and try to wake up Granny and tell her, get out of your wagon and give me your money.
So you're saying I need to get on Visible Mobile to start saving money every single month.
All in, $40 a month, down to $25 depending on how your party plan goes. You get unlimited everything. You get the best coverage there is available. You have a mobile hotspot included, and it's just the better thing to do right now. Of course, when you go there, you're going to use our promo code. Adam, do you remember our promo code?
Not yet.
Well, I'm going to tell you what it is. BVWVQ, and let me say that for you phonetically. That's Bravo, Victor, Whiskey, Victor, Quebec.
Go to Visible Mobile. Well, it's that time of the year. It's time to file your taxes. What a daunting task. Can you imagine sitting in your basement, taking all 12 months of all your receipts and just trying to figure that out?
I got that shoebox full of receipts, and I'm going to make this work.
And then what do? You get online and you try and figure it out yourself. It ain't worth it, man. Hey, you need to file your taxes. Go to adamupaccounting.com. We'd be happy to help you. We understand resellers like crazy. We know how to file your taxes. We know how to put all your expenses in the right categories. We know how to take care of it timely, that you feel like, oh, this is well worth it. I should have been doing this my entire life. Look at Derek. Look what he used to be. And look what we've got him trained into now.
I'm a champion of clicking your webs.
That's what your Twitter says. So go to adamupaccounting.com. You can find us on there. You can message us directly. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to help you out so that we can decrease the stress that you have coming up in the next few months. Well, now we got the second half of Death, Piles, and Taxes, episode 65. It's that time.
Why didn't you tell me Brian was such a nice guy? You let me sit here and say he was my second favorite Brian for episodes after episodes, and he's a nice guy, Adam.
That was a triple do 30. I know he is, and you know what happens? It's like the second you turn something off, you remember. We forgot to mention the Guns N' Roses concert.
Oh, did he go with you?
Yes.
Oh.
He was a participant, and you know what was really cool about that? When you bring other people, they show you different things. He showed me this website, the set list. So you brought up this, and it would tell you exactly what songs they were going to sing.
Some people like that. Some people like to be surprised, so it depends who you are.
I guess when you're the 17th returning YouTube fan, you know more about it than anyone else.
You've done some things. Well, it was a pleasant experience. I hope good time had by all. Hope the viewers, listeners enjoyed it. It was a little breakup from what we usually do, but I think it was of value.
We just had a deep dive into some card information that we'll bring on another episode, but that, I learned a lot.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We got Aaron here. Aaron brought up a good point, and since we got him here, I'm going to let him talk about it a little bit. We'll talk about it. But he has a potential bolo, and that's due to the coronavirus. I know we've talked about it for a few weeks. It's been kind of a joke. It's getting more major now. We'll do some more deep diving in it. But Aaron, why don't you bring up your question or what you were thinking?
Yeah, so as you're probably aware, a lot's happening with this new virus outbreak. And part of being in a reselling group and community is always looking for opportunities to make money or ways to sell, new products. And
Or like Derek, rip off other people.
or get yelled at on the internet for
We're gonna
charging up.
we're gonna
So-
get into that.
Selling hand sanitizer on the Facebook groups.
Exactly, stuff like that. But a lot of panic going around. But as you're probably aware, a lot of companies, and especially in the movie world, are canceling or postponing the releases of a lot of their shows. And it might be an opportunity because a lot of those already have toys coming out or movie posters that have dates on them. Stuff like that collectors that like to watch those are looking for. And right now, since a lot of that's being postponed, a couple months, 6 months, whatever it is, it might be a good opportunity to get your hands on a movie poster dated for March release, April release, for a movie that might not come out for 6 months down the road, Stuff like that.
Great point. There.
Toys coming out.
I don't know if you remember. Sorry to cut you off, Aaron, but there was a movie called. Don't even remember what it was called. It was about going to war with North Korea.
I believe it's The Interview.
The interview. Yeah.
The Interview. So this is when I was first getting back into eBay, kind of serious. About that time was 4 or 5 years ago, and because of the threat of that, they pulled it from the theaters because North Korea was arguing they were going to go to war with us or whatever, right?
Your buddy Little Rocket Man.
Not my buddy. Anyway, Adam gets me derailed easily, and so. Anyways, he was going to blow us all up if we released this movie. So, and they were talking about, threats in movie theaters. So they just said, hey, we're not releasing it in the movie theaters. Well, first they weren't going to release it at all. I think they ended up putting it on DVD and streaming. I went around to all the local theaters and I was buying those posters because at that time they were going for about $100 a poster.
Wow.
So I remember making the loop of local theaters here, went up to about, southern Salt Lake County area. Then I did the big western loop to any movie theater I could find because they had no use for the posters. Now, your bigger chains like your Cinemarks and those kind of places don't really deal with that, or they have digital posters now, or they just won't sell them to you. But you find some of the smaller mom and pop type stores of the movie business, the smaller local chains or just places that have local community type theater, and they'll sell you movie posters. And I was able to do pretty well off that.
Yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. You might not make rich off of that, but there are opportunities out there, especially with like Disney's Mulan that got canceled or postponed. I'm sure Walmart, Target already have toy orders. Amazon probably has toy orders for that to come out. Just opportunities like that will open up that hopefully you can take advantage of. And
I don't know if you can tell we're in the stabby part of town. We got this car alarm going off that we're getting robbed. I got my taxes done here and I didn't get robbed this year, so I have to thank Adam for that.
You can thank your wife for going back to school.
But that going in the background, folks, is not a clever sound effect Derek's putting in for the buy it now price.
That's the new mixer we got.
That's somebody over that's locked their keys in their car and trying to get the fire department to open it up for them or something. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but I'm just addressing it. So yeah, we got James Bond coming out. Was going to come out.
It was, yeah. Now it's postponed to November.
Mulan.
I'm sure a lot of others. Those are kind of the bigger ones.
Those are big. So that's
Isn't there any of them Star Wars movies coming out?
they're in the TV show now with the Baby Yoda. But I heard with this too, a lot of the Baby Yoda toys are coming from China, which is on lockdown. So if you can get any of that stuff, I was talking with Phil the other day at the card shop. A lot of this stuff that imports from China, a lot of his top loaders, like what you're putting your cards into right now, come from mainland China. And even though it might be cleared up and stuff, production is just kind of halted because they've been on, hiatus, so to speak, or what are they calling it?
Sabbatical.
So, to your church-related sabbatical.
Furlough.
Yeah, they're just, they're in self-quarantine. They're being quarantined, so they're not going to work. Things aren't getting shipped out. It's just the whole chain of effects, one thing affects another, that's coming to the point of if we can buy top loaders to put our cards in or toys.
Or even the fact like Disneyland, Disney World are canceled right now. So if you have items from there that you might want to sell, you can't buy them at Disneyland right now. So
Like Brian's shampoo.
yeah, exactly.
Man, he went to the Disneyland hotel. He was kind of hush-hush on that a little bit. He went to Disneyland and went to the hotel, and then he was selling the shampoo that he got at the hotel on eBay. That's genius.
You know what? I know his wife really well. She's worked with me for several years now, and I'm sure she just looking like, what kind of idiot are you taking shampoo from Disneyland?
That's the kind of thing, though. You turn around and what do you say, $10 a shampoo or something like that? I mean, that doesn't take long to pay for a Disney trip if you can find that maid cart like you like to do and just load up.
You know, we had our Disneyland trip almost paid for, but then we just had another family member, so I got to start flipping again.
Hey, did we congratulate you at the top of the show? I'm not sure if we did or not. You want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, we'll talk about that for a second.
Well, Adam is a proud father for the third time.
Yes.
And you want to tell the folks a little bit about it?
Good experience. You know, obviously having children is the miracle of the world. Things went well. A little scary for a while, but now we're excited. He and my wife are both home, happy, healthy. So very, very happy to be a father for the third time, and very much excited because he will be known as the Corona baby because we were in the hospital when the world shut down.
How was that in the halls of the hospital?
Well, I will have to say one thing. You're always ahead of the game. Last week you played the music that you should have played this week.
Have you heard this week's show?
Well, you played the song. You played it twice. You played it. This is the world as we know it. You played that one already. So it was really weird. Like first we got the call on Sunday morning saying, "Hey, you're gonna come in Monday, do this and this, and by the way, we've changed our policy, and your children can't come to the hospital."
So then you have to find a spot for your kids to go on the way to the hospital, or how'd that work out?
No, they was coming the next day, but my wife wasn't too thrilled about that. Then while we're in the hospital, like the second day, I mean, every way you went into, you had to hand sanitize your hand. Like I had to put on lotion because my hands were so chapped from washing, which is a great thing. So that happened there, and then the Wednesday I think was when the world stopped. That's when Rudy got officially.
Well, so let me tell you about
Wednesday.
Let me tell you about my Wednesday. So big wrestling fan, as you know. Talking a little bit about it. Don't want to go too deep because it's not a wrestling show. People don't care. New company called AEW was in town for their Wednesday night Dynamite show. So me and my wife were down there at the front row at the center up here where they have that kind of an event. And you can see me very prominently if you're watching on TV. I was there.
Front row.
I go into a whole other podcast about sitting front row at a wrestling show and why you should or should not do that. Anyway, I enjoy it. But so we go in and it's a mass. I mean, I don't know if it's a few thousand people in that arena. I don't know the exact number, but it's a pretty good amount of people. So we come out and get to the car and start looking at your phone because you're waiting to get out because there's a lot of people and what have you. And everything's just stopped. I mean, the NBA's canceled. Church stuff's done. You can't do this. You can't do that. I think I might have been to one of the last. The NCAA tourney got canceled. They're suspending the NBA, suspending baseball, golf. I think I might have been to one of the last live sporting events of probably the last couple months.
The world.
Well, the world for the next few months. People over in Italy are locked up, and you were going to talk a little bit about that too. You said you had some stories there, so.
My boy JT threw in some info.
So anyways, yeah, it came out. It's a whole new world. And it reminds me eerily of 9/11. I don't know. Some people don't really remember that time. We're pretty young. It's just the way that you live and conduct your life has been changed and altered so much that it's a little scary that way, I think. And I'm hoping it's just a lot of overhype as far as the people that are just overreacting and going to the stores and grabbing everything. But hopefully it's not the new normal. A couple months we'll get back to business as usual, and then people learn from this and have necessities on hand.
Well, those are all great aspects. I do have one thing. I have something that you are very good at that by happenstance happened to me. You know how you barely knew who Gary Vee was and he follows you and you don't follow him?
Oh, yeah, he can come to me for information, and if he's got questions, but I'm not going to do it to 2 million of his followers for free.
I know, and we have that same, you've got the unique relationship with Donald. Michael Painter's got the real relationship with Don Jr.
The duck?
Yes, the duck.
I think that's what some people call him.
The Donald. No, Don Jr. and Mike Painter are friends on the Instagrams.
Yeah, he follows him.
He follows him. They were there. I happened chance was at this that one of the football games, the BYU football games, that I was down on the field. Brought this guy that I know, a friend. Said, "Hey, come down on the field." And he's super pumped, and like he's a pretty prominent guy, and he knows a lot of people. And anyways, he's down on the field with me during the games, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, come over here." And it's some guy. His name's Jimmy, and I'm like, "Oh, cool. Hey, Jimmy, nice to meet you."
Is he Jimmy Cheapy Pants?
No, not Jimmy Cheapy Pants. Although he is big in the Provo community. He's big.
I know, he's big time.
He's biggy.
Big time.
So it wasn't that Jimmy. This guy's named Jimmy Rex. I didn't know anything about him. But anyways, started following him on Twitter, and I guess he's this big real estate guy, like big, one of the biggest real estate guys in the state. He sells a lot of real estate, and the other day he mentioned a tweet about now that the quarantine's open, now it's a good time to listen to a podcast. And I says, "Yes, Jimmy, it's a great time. You ought to listen to ours." And he liked it, and my buddy JT Tavaneri, he it was also following and said, "Hey, that's my account." And then they got in a little Twitter talk, and anyways, I sent Jimmy, I'm like, "Oh yeah, now I know who you are." And I sent him some pictures of us hanging out on the field.
Okay, we're friends, so.
Hey,
So is he following you on the Twitter machine? Is that what you're saying?
I'm going to post this to the episode. I don't know if he's I'm still learning that tweet machine.
Well, maybe if we combine our powers. You remember the Captain Planet cartoon from the 90s? I mean, if we get all of us together, we put in our powers, maybe we can we can be like something big. So people be like, "Oh, these guys are kind of important. They know 3 pretty prominent people."
Earth, wind, and fire, like you put your hand.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get Painter for the political, ish, and we'll get you for the real estate. And we'll get me for the Vanderchuck,
Yeah.
and when we'll go somewhere and act like we're big shots.
If we could get a Husky section about him hunting with Ted Nugent, that'd be something.
He had it. Did you know that? There's video out there on the internet with him and Uncle Ted.
That's why I said that.
That's what he tells you. Well, sometimes you say things and you don't know.
That's the best part of the show. It's 90% myth, 10% truth, 17% maybe.
He's my accountant, folks. Do the math on that.
It's Pi Day today.
Well, let me say something here.
Oh, okay, I'll let you.
I've been wanting to get into this for a couple weeks, and it's not what you think I'm going with. I sold a. Did I talk about this last week? I sold a box of cards, like a Kobe Rookie Year Upper Deck cards I bought.
A sealed box.
A sealed box. I talked about the person that wanted to return it.
No.
So I get this return request. So the day that Kobe passed, instead of buying Kobe cards, I went and bought the boxes from the year that would be his rookie year.
Okay.
I bought probably 5 boxes of cards, and sure and bought them. They sent them over to me. Then I sold them for more than I paid, and the chance that you might find a Kobe Bryant rookie card. And I thought, worst case, they don't sell. I'll dig through it. Maybe I'll find some. So the 5th box went to a gentleman, and I did these auction style because, as we've talked before, that's more the demand. There are going to be people looking. You're going to bid it up. So I sent out the cards, and I get this return request from a gentleman. And he said that he wanted to return the cards. And I said, well, why? That's my first question. Not that I always do this, but it'd been like a week after he got them. He said, my 9-year-old son bought these cards without my knowledge.
Oh, I remember you saying this.
And I'm like, okay, I can get the buy it now without your knowledge. First off, it's not my problem that you're logged into your computer and your kid's buying things. Like, that shouldn't be my problem, but I get that might happen sometimes. Your kid was not bidding on these cards over a period of a week without you knowing it. And, then he bought the cards, and then he paid for the cards after I sent you an invoice, because you didn't pay for a few days, and your kid was just in your email and doing all this. I didn't say all this to him. I just said, okay, send them back. And lo and behold, he did not send them back, so I closed the case, and eBay ruled in my favor, and I got to keep my money. But your 9-year-old kid, like, how old's your son?
He's 9.
Does your son have access to your eBay account And if he was bidding on things, would you know it over a week's time?
He probably could. Kids are smart, but it's your own parent fault if you don't know that they're doing it.
If your son wanted to buy a card from me and was on there bidding it up, and then I send an invoice, it's going to go to your email. Is he going to be smart enough to intercept that and pay it and figure out how to use the PayPal to do that?
Kids are smart.
Well, if you're a 9-year-old listening, come buy stuff from Derek. my show note has my store in there.
Johnny Lingo store.
You just come buy whatever you want, and if your dad's not smart enough to catch you in the act, you deserve to have whatever I ship to you.
There's going to be some real sweet cards here on the Double Llama Comma store.
And it went with the dad's name on the label in the mail, and this big card box shows up, and the parent or whoever got the mail didn't think, I wonder what this is, and the kid opens it, and then, busted. But I'm thinking he bought it and then thought, I'm not so sure, and tried to blame it on the kid.
That's usually what happens. So while we got you both here on the air, this is we're gonna throw it out there. You guys are quite a few age different, right? What are we? 9 years?
I'm the eldest. I was in 6th grade when Aaron was born.
I'm the youngest. I was not in any school when I was born.
It was a blustery rainy day the day Aaron was born in Nephi, Utah, 1990 and 6. I'm not gonna give out your whole birthday. That wasn't even the right year.
It's good.
We're in the ballpark, I guess.
There's a reason he has an accountant.
Yeah. What's your
11 years.
11 or 12 years? Yeah.
Depends on if it's leap year.
Yeah.
Leap day Christmas. I talked with my parent. We got talking on it. We're just gonna take off leap day as a family and just make it a holiday.
In 4 years.
4 years, we're just gonna go and do something real good. We're gonna go top of the line steakhouse, take the day off. That's gonna be our new holiday.
Red Lobster was thrown out there.
What? Red Lobster was mentioned.
I do have a lady. I mentioned the leap year Christmas, and she said they do a time capsule every 4 years.
See, I like that kind of thing.
And I'm like, man, that's a great idea.
Leap year should become a new holiday.
Yeah, I love it. Or leap day.
I can see leap year Christmas might not work out. Leap day on leap year should be you take it off work and you just go spend some coin and treat yourself day.
We could probably get that passed up at legislature now that they.
I don't care if the government does it or not. You can't wait. If we've learned anything, you can't wait for the government to do anything. You just take care of yourself. And on this one, in 4 years, on leap day, you take it off work. And when they ask you why, it's a personal day. Who cares? But then you take your family, nice steakhouse, a Red Lobster. You go watch the James Bond movie. You go to the amusement park. You go do something that you usually wouldn't do. Spend a little coin and make it a family tradition.
As long as those places are open.
As long as if we survive.
At the going rate.
Right now, it might just be robots, and they can go do it. What's your question for us?
I was just going to say before you rudely interrupted.
Yeah, you got two Everett boys talking about leap year Christmas.
I was just saying that the government just stopped time because they just did away with the spring forward, fall back. That's no longer existed. So I can.
Well, it does though, because we have to get 5 states to go in with us. Did you not read it?
Well, no, I don't know.
They can't just do it because that would just be done.
It'd be too easy.
Other states can do it, but we have to have 5 friends go in on it with us. It's like me sending in cards. Like, I could send in my own cards, but if I don't get you 5 guys to do it, it doesn't work so good. So Arizona gets to do it themselves. Indiana can do it themselves. But Utah, we need a buddy system.
Arizona already does. Are you saying that Utah just MLM the new time rule?
And basically, if we can get 5 friends to join us for, I don't know the reason, in the West, it has to be like around us. So the 4 corner states have to unite like Captain Planet again, so that we can end something that's just
Sandoval here in Nevada. We got this great opportunity for you,
and they're just like, just do it then. That's cool. If it works good for you, we'll join you. No, we need you all. I don't understand it.
All right, back on the mini derailment. What stories can you give us, Aaron, about Mr. DeRoy that would? I guess wouldn't be shocking, but something that might entertain that is not been brought up on this podcast.
94?
No. Keep guessing. You'll get my.
You tell the story. I'll figure it out.
Oh, you're trying to figure out what year your brother was born.
I don't know, because Derek's pretty open book as far as any stories that aren't on this podcast already. He shares his whole life on this podcast. So.
Well,
does that ever get me in trouble at home?
Occasionally, yeah.
Well, I know that there's one thing, and this is, it might bring up a sore spot, but I'm going to bring it up anyways. What happened to the Everitt Fest?
Everitt Fest is dead.
Tell us what it was and what happened, because a lot of I've had inquiring minds wanted to know.
93?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
All right.
The new Everitt Fest is going to be this new tradition every 4 years.
Leap year. We
Leap
talked
year.
about it.
We're
You
gonna
can
make
join
this
us.
happen.
The old Everitt Fest.
The old Everitt Fest, for those who aren't familiar with it, how to even start on that?
At the beginning.
It was a spectacular of all spectaculars.
It was a wonderful
4th of July
4th of
tradition.
July, event.
We'd have what was called a firework board.
My dad's a pyro. We'll put that out on here. So, and well, not
Aaron-
only we're
Aaron
all
said that, not
pyros.
me, because I'll get in trouble if I say it. Aaron can say it; he'll get away because he's the youngest.
The baby.
He controls all their accounts and stuff, so they know if they go to get mad at him, he'll just shut off their credit card or something. If I say something, I still get lectured.
I go on the internet and buy them cards and stuff and have them mailed to him, and then he has to try to return them.
My 20-year-old kid bought these off your eBay store. I didn't want them.
So, basically, I think where it all started, was my father, loving the 4th of July and the freedom in America which we live in, wanted to start lighting fireworks in an easy, convenient way. I believe he got sick and tired of lighting them one by one. And as you're aware, those fuses are really short and there's some complications to that.
Blow off a hand if you're not careful.
Exactly. So he came up with this idea. There used to be, which they might still sell them, but there used to be this firework known as a Santa's Whip. I haven't seen them for a while. Have you seen them?
I haven't bought firework in a
I
few
don't know
years
if they
because
still
of
make
the
it.
death of Everitt Fest.
They're basically this cord of black powder that crackles and pops. He came up with the idea if he was to tape the fuses together of multiple fireworks to these Santa's whips, and then light the Santa whip, it would go through and light the other fireworks as it goes. And sure enough, that's basically exactly what it does. So I don't know how much detail we want to get into this, but
Wow.
we basically started making these firework boards, connecting with these Santa's whips, and from there it kind of turned into a local holiday, if you will.
Well, it was a celebration. It was still a national holiday. We'd have people come over and watch fireworks at our house.
And it continually evolved over years.
Mm-hmm.
It got bigger and bigger and bigger until the point that, well, the one year that it rained, it was a travesty. The shark came in and he was still lighting fireworks with a propane torch in the rain.
I think you're answering your own question as to why this doesn't happen anymore.
And there was a loose one, the pelican, the briefcase, got in the gut. And then this is back when fireworks were still that point. Eventually it got to the point where you could no longer have the ones that go up in the air and blow up to a certain point.
That's all
allegedly.
depends where you live
Changed
to.
over the years, yeah.
We used to have a memory. Aaron used to know every firework law in the tri-state area.
That's true. Yeah. Keep up on date on those.
But it was quite the event, and it wasn't just fireworks. It was the beaming large American flag in the background.
Music.
The
It's all about the
spotlight.
atmosphere with that.
Oh man, I mean that
We draw crowds.
Lee Greenwood. I mean, it was the Americana of Americana. So the only thing I could really wonder, because I know you guys had Danny, he had quite the YouTube channel going for a while. Could you imagine the kind of flipper that Denny would be if the internet was around when he was a young man?
Real fast, if you were to go to your YouTube machine and you put in the word Everitt Fest, all is one word. The top thing is a Everitt Fest video that was not made by the Everitt family. So they might have got a little out of control, a little out of hand.
Is that us?
That's up, yeah.
I didn't know.
This is
I didn't know
from
that
7 years
existed.
ago.
EVERITT, the way the Lord
The way the Lord intended it. So maybe I'll try to link it in the show notes. I'm having kind of a hard time with show notes and pictures and things. I can put words, but it's a whole thing.
So my point is you guys have come from that the good blood, the gene pool of the spirit of doing things well, enjoying life, and just having fun. And I appreciate Aaron you coming in. You got the other brother. Everett family's a good family to be around.
We're the Beard Brothers and Adam.
Although I won't expose you on the air. The Beard Brothers and Adams, what we call ourselves around the house anymore.
Beard brothers.
I might be a little clean shaved.
Today you could be Adam. You're not the third brother, but you're Adam.
But I am bearded though.
You're Beard Brother then.
Okay, beard brother. So, well, Aaron, thanks for coming in, man. You always answer
Yeah,
some
you
good
bet.
questions. Thanks for bringing in the third mic. Hopefully, this is coming across
We had to test the
clearly.
new system out, so
Yeah, you guys are experiencing a first here on DeathPiles and Taxes. Not a third person, but a third mic. Before we've had to pass them around.
Now we're talking Mike Durbin. We've had him on the show.
Is he a third wheel?
No, you said Mike.
A third mic.
Oh, I know lots of mics.
Okay. And that's where the show died, folks. Right there.
That's where they all tuned out.
They're still listening. It's a train wreck.
Well, we're about to that point.
Well, can I get derailed then if we're about to that point?
Well, yeah, we've already lost listeners, so we might as well just derail us.
So this whole Corona thing, I understand the importance of it.
My corona.
I knew you were going to do that. I should have wrote it down. I knew you were going to do it. It was like, Adam will do the Maestro and my Corona. I knew that. So it's a big deal for a lot of people. It's something okay. I went around and I was buying hand sanitizers and wipes, the antibacterial wipes, and my purposes was to sell them on eBay.
Rip people off.
And eBay came out and said, you can't do that, you can't post this. After people had done it for, a few weeks, I thought, I should have been on the hype train at first, but I thought this is going to blow over. Okay, it's getting serious. Then I had friends up in Seattle like Waddy say, hey, we can't get things up here. So if you're to put these on eBay, it'll make it accessible for people to buy these things that you can get that we no longer can get. So I thought supply and demand. Well, in the meantime, things went crazy, probably nationwide. And eBay says you can't do this because it's a pandemic and you're taking advantage of people during a pandemic or price gouging. Now, I think there's two things eBay could do. Should do. The first thing is you can control price gouging by saying you can only sell 8 fluid ounces of hand sanitizer for X amount of dollars. And just put a price in lock, and you can't list it for over this price if that's how you feel, and still let people sell it because there are people that can't get these items because the shelves are cleared, so they go to the internet to buy them. So the thing that you're trying to prevent is actually making it worse because due to supply and demand, people are going crazy and clearing the supermarkets. Whether that's right or wrong, that's happening. It's getting blamed on us, the resellers, when really it's your crazy preppers or your hoarder people. It's not resellers clearing the shelves to resell the items right now. It really isn't. I mean, some people might a little bit or have thought that, but for the most part, it's people just in a panic. So now the people that want these items can't even find them on the internet to have them shipped to them, so they just don't get the item, which is not helping anybody. It's not stopping people from going to the grocery stores and clearing the shelves, as we've all seen. So eBay should step back and say, okay, you can sell it for $1 an ounce, $2, whatever they want to come out with, and say that's the top of the line and allow that to be sold so people can get what they want. The whole toilet paper thing baffles me, I don't know. But instead of that, if you were to go on eBay right now and put hand sanitizer, they can't keep up with it to police it enough. So I think if they were just to put in the limit, this is what you do, so on and so forth, one thing. The other thing is everyone in the Facebook marketplaces and groups that you put this on and they act like you're out trying to slaughter a newborn baby. If you don't want it or you don't like it, keep scrolling along. I mean, it's one of those things that I get. Some people don't like it, but there's demand for it. People need this, or in their mind they need these things. I'm not one for if it was medically necessary. Like some people need insulin to live. In my opinion, insulin should be cost effective. But we got plenty of pharmaceutical companies around the country right now that are price gouging people for things like, penicillin. Or I guess not penicillin. What's the thing that you put in you when you have a
Smallpox.
No, an EpiPen.
EpiPens are costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's price gouging, and if you have a peanut allergy, you need that to live. That is wrong. Or, in my opinion, the same thing would go with diabetic people that need insulin. The insulin companies are jacking the prices through the roofs enough that There are politicians trying to stop this. People are going to Mexico to buy their medicine. That doesn't sound like the best option for me, but because of prices, or they'll only take half a dose. That is wrong. You don't need hand sanitizer to live. You can wash your hands thoroughly. You can use antibacterial soap. You don't need toilet paper to live. It is very convenient. I don't know what you're going to do with 5 cases of toilet paper.
Sell it on eBay.
But you don't need that to live. So as far as I'm concerned, supply and demand with non-essential items. Now you can come say elderly people and all this kind of thing. I'm in a situation where we got people with health concerns. You know what I do? I've implied with my family and different things, hey, if you go shopping, you check with these people and make sure that they're okay. And if they need anything, we pick it up and take it to them so they don't need to go to the store through all the craziness and do all this. You take care of each other. We don't need the internet to police us because the internet is usually about as crazy as the people at the store one way or another. And I personally don't feel bad about selling hand sanitizer to people. They say the people on the groups or whatever, you should just sell it for what you bought it for. Well, then what's my motivation to buy it? There is none. Well, then there'll be plenty on the shelves for people. No, there won't. Somebody else is going to come take it and just put it in their hoard pile.
Nobody buys it and sells it for what they paid for it.
Well, it's all these people that are in this Pollyanna world, and I mean, this is a practice run. This is the way I look at it. At some point, might be in my lifetime, might not. There probably will be something that happens that's pretty drastic, whether that's health related or war, something like that, and things really are going to go bad. Most of the population right now are pretty safe with what's going on. It's an inconvenience. We might be quarantined. The economy and things are suffering, but we'll come back. Probably within a few months, this will be one of those just weird things that we talk about happened, right? At some point, it really is going to hit the fan, and it really is going to be bad. So after you've seen this, people, have a little stockpile, have a little things that will get you through probably a month's worth of provisions. Maybe rotate some water, rotate some stock. Just don't go back to how you were. But also, panicking's not helping anyone. No. But my whole rant was eBay needs to allow the free market to operate. That's how I feel.
Wow, that's not my normal derailment. I feel like I just got lectured.
Well, I'm mad because people on the internet are so self-righteous, and you get it. I mean, this in these yard sale groups, the people that don't sell or don't care, and they blame us resellers. And there are some people that are bad eggs in the community. But overall, if people want something, let them buy it. And if they say they want it for $20, let them pay $20. Because next week, it might be back to $1. It's just like the Christmas toys. If this was essential to live, I understand it. Water, bottled water. There's plenty of water out of the tap as of right now, so bottled water is not a necessity. Anyone else got anything to add? Or is this Derek's derailment? Agree, disagree, not going to go there.
Well, I agree with you, but I just feel like somebody just ran over my cat and kicked me to the curb, because I 100% agree with you, but I don't know, I just, like, whatever.
And maybe I'm preaching to the choir a little bit. I got in a few discussions with some other major resellers. Every time I said, please come on my podcast, I'd love to discuss this with you. Radio silence, not interested anymore.
I can't do it, Derek.
I'm one that's always been like, hey, I'll say my opinion, and I might be wrong. Well, I'll come at you of how I feel, and if you want to come discuss it, that's fine. But everyone's got big opinions until you get confronted a little bit, and then all of a sudden they fold. So it's the popular thing to say. You should take care of the elderly people. You should take care of your family. You should take care of those in need. But in the same note, I got things so I can go to people that I know are in need and say, hey, do you need any hand sanitizer? Hey, do you need any of these wipes? Hey, do you need any water? And by doing that, I'm able to take care of it. Or if I was able to sell the things for money, I can then go turn that money into things, and the cycle continues. I saw there's some guy that went around, it was back east somewhere, and he's got like a garage full of hand sanitizer, and he can't sell it anywhere anymore because everyone's put the kibosh and the ban on it. It's not just eBay, Amazon, Mercari, all these places have banned you from selling that kind of stuff. So now he's got a garage full of items that people want that he cannot sell. How is that helping the situation?
It's not. And I don't know.
I mean, hopefully things get better.
They will.
And wash your hands, people. There's plenty of soap. When I go to the stores, there's soap and stuff.
There's
so
stuff.
You'll survive. Just wash your hands and be conscientious of each other. I mean,
Well,
eh,
with that note,
sorry, that was kind of a down note. It's been a different show. We've had guests, we've had company over. I had to derail. I had to let it loose.
I will just say this, that I just got a little blip across the news wire. Apparently, Florida State is the 2020 national champs for the hoops tournament.
Congratulations.
They just voted on it in their state senate, and they voted themselves the national champs.
Hey, Utah Jazz won the title.
That's what I heard. I just heard the Utah Jazz.
Rudy Gobert shut them all down.
Rudy Gobert is the...
We actually won the XFL.
Yes.
We won the NBA title. Soccer MLS Cup. Jazz won.
Yeah.
I guess Florida beat us to the NCAA.
They did beat us to that, but Rudy Gobert shut down...
I think
the
they
world.
should make shirts, the Utah Jazz champions, and then we can sell them on eBay.
Maybe we ought to find a guy that can make those shirts for us. Aaron,
2020.
what are you doing?
2020 champs. Got anything else to add while you're here, Aaron? Thanks for coming
I
in.
think we're good, yeah.
Well, there's two things that are certain in life.
And those two things would be
DeathPiles.
and taxes.